Testing one, two, three. Testing one, two, three. Okay, NTD Racing is back. We were trying to work through some technical difficulties. We were trying to get Lefty back online so that we give y'all a view to the world that our drivers and navigators will see during the race. But we're running into a few technical difficulties, and like every race, they never start perfect. There's always something to deal with, and as we start moving the race truck towards the course, we're trying to work on this live stream, give y'all a good picture of what we do as a team and how it works and how it looks inside the truck as we race. And then our maps are going offline. So we're trying to get that fixed. Once we get that fixed, we will get our remote desktop that is inside of the race truck. We'll get that back online, and hopefully, here when the truck starts this race from just north of Las Vegas all the way to Reno, then we will give y'all just a good picture of what's going on in the race truck, give you some good background information about the team and what's going on and how this all looks. So stay tuned. We're going to go silent for a little bit as we get this worked out, and we'll be back as soon as we get this problem resolved. So thanks for tuning in. Okay, I think we're live here. We got a view inside the cockpit. Lefty is staging for the race. So what happens in this one is they'll pull up and they'll be given a staging point. They're trying to work out the issue with the maps right now, and hopefully what you're going to see is us getting up to the beginning of the race. You can see them inside the cockpit there working around. I'm not sure what happened to the camera. We'll see if we can get that fixed where it's a view back out in front. And hopefully we can have that solved so that as this race starts, that y'all will have a good view of it. Okay, so just an update. Lefty is still moving towards the starting line. Again, technical issues, so this is a learning experience. So you're all along for the ride with us, real time as this happens. Um, you know, this isn't staged. So we'll leave it as is. So what you see is Lefty as we call it, the Congo line, getting ready to go up to the starting line. As they pull up there, you'll see the blow up VP starting. I can't tell how far back they are. It looks like they're probably about 20 vehicles from the start. So as they get closer to the starting line, I'll come back on and just give my observations of what I'm seeing right now. And thanks for sticking with us through this delay or these technical issues. And hopefully we'll get them resolved and only make this better in the future as we continue to do this. So thanks for coming along for the ride. I'll be back shortly. Okay, we're back. We have good visual of Lefty right now, and it looks like we're about 10 vehicles from the starting position. Looks like we got a good view going of the staging for the start. So we'll just sit here, and I am in the truck with two members of NTD Racing, David and Ryan. David is an original member from the first Vegas to Reno. What'd you think about that race, David?
That was pretty awesome. We had a great time. It was fast, got dark on us, but finished even. So we're looking forward to a faster run here. A lot of dirt, dust today, so a lot
Yeah.
of really cool vehicles out, and I think we're going to have a great time.
Yeah, speaking of the dust, you look out in the distance right now, and I think once they get moving, you'll see it on the screen from Lefty's camera. But the wind There is wind out here, but the dust seems to just kind of be hovering over the racetrack out in the distance. And any of you who have been out there racing before, you kind of know what that looks like. So we'll see if that impacts the speed that Lefty can go, especially right here at the start where it's a little more congested before the field thins out a little bit. Looks like they're sending trucks off the line about every minute. And if I count right now, we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 12 places. It's probably about 12 minutes before the send off of Lefty. I'm going to mute here for a second because I want to play with the volume from inside the truck to make sure that y'all can get a little bit of that. I think it kind of gives you a better feel, a better experience for what it's like to be inside the truck during the race. So I'm going to mute this mic and play with the other one for a minute, and I'll be back before the start. Okay, we're back, and it looks like they're starting cars every 30 seconds, and we're still a few cars back. So we're gonna check in with Lefty real quick and just see if they have anything to say. Lefty, this is Big Red. We're live streaming. Do you have anything to say to the audience that's watching right now?
Yeah, it's a big deal. It's always like days and days of logistics to get here, fight through whatever possibly goes wrong, and then get to the race. Fortunately, everything just comes together at the end. So thanks to all the teams and all the families out there.
Yeah, hey Lefty, we see you're just a few cars back. Just tell us real quick before you get there about the excitement of getting up to the starting line.
I'll tell you what, it never gets old. You know, we've been doing this a long time with about 2 years now, and so you kind of get the normal feeling. I can tell that Chet is over there and he is amped. He's been amped all morning, so it's pretty exciting. This is his first time getting to drive the truck, and we're just kind of trying to bring him on as a regular driver. You know, so getting ready for the mid 400 Baja 1000. So we're getting to it, man. We got 500 miles, and try not to win at the beginning. Just slow and steady the whole way, smooth and steady.
Lefty Big Red, thanks for that. Good luck, ride fast, take chances, and we'll see you at pit 2. All right, so there you go. We're looking now, we're probably less than 2 minutes or about 2 minutes until they take off from the starting line. So we're just going to stay tuned here and keep chatting a little bit as this happens. I've been in the truck for the start of a race when you get up there, and, you know, like Dave said when we asked him, you know, like everything can go wrong leading up to it, but once you get on that starting line and you start the race, it all just goes away, and now you're racing. You know, you're racing with what you got. Hopefully everything's working okay, but that's just not always the case. You can't always depend on it. So that's what we do. We adjust, we adapt. You know, we prepare. You know, we got a few new drivers. Chet is in the truck. He'll be driving off the line for the first time, so we're excited about that. He's got probably the most capable team member here, Dave. You've all seen him NTD Racing in the navigator seat, which is not a seat he is always comfortable being in. Not necessarily even like it that much, but you know, he sacrifices for the team. It's just one more sacrifice he's making. So we're here. I'll tell you right now. Let's see. There are looks like one car just took off. So we got a minute and a half until Lefty is up there. One of the interesting things about this race is after all these cars take off, and I'm not sure this is the first time ever, but they have a bunch of youth that are doing a very short course that are going to be taking off probably a half hour or more after all these big trucks take off. So that's going to be interesting because, you know, there's a chance that we get passed by a youth racer, which would be both a little bit embarrassing, but also really cool for those guys as well. So we'll see what happens. All right, we got Lefty is about to be on deck for a takeoff. As you can see here on the video, you can see that big VP starting line. And if you're sitting in a truck at this point, I mean, that's an exciting place to be. It's really big. Yeah, you watch that car pull up and you know you're next. All right, so they're up there. 30 seconds, that car takes off. You pull up, stop. You're going to take a few deep breaths. And they're going to give you the go, the flag, and you're off. And after that point, you're racing. You're racing. Everything else is out of your control. You just take that truck and you get it on down to the pit, to the next stop. Yeah. All right, here we go. Lefty is pulling up. We're at 30 seconds. Copy. Lefty's number one on the line. Good luck. All right, here we go. This is it. This is the moment. All the preparation.
Lefty is on the line.
We're racing, baby. Here we go. Now I'm going to sign off here a minute. We got to plan some logistics because this computer is going to run out of some power. So I'm going to let it live stream as much as possible. What you don't know is we sent our other chase team out to find us a power inverter to help get through this issue. If we go offline, we will get this live stream back up as soon as we get that power inverter and power to this computer. So just in order to save power, I'm going to take this down for a minute. I'm going to let y'all watch the video, and we'll be back with you once we get this next issue solved. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe, take chances. All right, we are back. And so, just a little update on what happened as we watched Lefty continue to move. We have a computer, which is basically for our brains for making this whole live stream work. And unfortunately, the inverter in our chase truck, our Ford heavy duty chase truck, is having issues. So we had to send our other team back to the nearest town, the opposite direction, in order to get us another inverter. And that beeping you hear in the background is us trying to figure out how to make this inverter work to get power to the computer so we keep this live stream going. Looks like Lefty may be gaining on someone in front of him, and you can see they must have enough wind blowing that dust off the course there. So that's good. That's good for the driver and the navigator, because when that dust is just hanging over the course, it makes life incredibly interesting when you're in a race truck. All right, we're going to go off for a minute, see if we can figure out this inverter issue, and then we'll be back with some more updates, commentary from the pit crew. Okay, we're gonna just come back on for a second and talk. We got this inverter; it won't quit beeping at us, but hey, we're gonna keep pushing through it, and hopefully, you don't hear it coming through your live stream there. We are actually paralleling the race course, and we can see Lefty down in the distance. And this is one of those cool things when you're chasing. A lot of races, you don't really see the race course a whole lot when you're chasing. But on this particular race, there's a lot of times when you can look out in the distance and see the race course. And we have the GPS coordinates of where Lefty is on the course. So while you're watching Lefty through the front windshield there, we are looking at Lefty down from a distance with the just flying through the desert. You can just see the dust coming up from behind. It's a pretty awesome view. Um, it's pretty exciting. It's one of the things that makes this Vegas Reno race a little unique is that you have this constant connection with the race truck along the race. There are, I believe, 12 or 13 pits along the way, and all but one of them are literally, you know, less than 10 minutes off the main road on pretty good roads. Nothing like the Baja 1000 stuff where you never know what kind of stuff you're going to get into. But this is pretty fun. I wish we had a way we could turn the camera and show y'all what we're seeing here, and I might be able to figure that out as we go along and try to give y'all some of that visual that we have from the chase truck as we parallel the race course right now. If you hear any issues with the volume, I try to turn the volume on the race truck up, when we're not talking, and turn it down so it's not too distracting while we're talking here from the chase truck. So we're learning as we do this. So I hope you're enjoying it, and we are going to go off. We'll give you the audio back from the race truck. Hope you're enjoying this video. Looks pretty solid here from inside the truck because this is the kind of stuff that I wish we had been able to see this stuff before we started racing in 2020, the first time we raced in Baja. So enjoy the view that you got. We'll see how long it lasts, and we'll be back here in a little bit. All right. We're watching the truck. It looks like they're at about race mile 18 right now. Fairly, technical section that they're working on right now. We're actually chase trucks are sitting at a road crossing, probably a little less than 10 miles away. So we're gonna hang out here, watch your race a little bit, just kind of regroup after the chaos that ensues before a race starts. Almost guaranteed every race. As that happens, it's kind of good once the truck gets on the course and moving along to just get together as a chase crew and make sure we're all tracking on the same page. So we are all back together here on the highway. Uh, you got every chase truck stops here because it's a good vantage point to see your truck, check in on your drivers. And when you're in the truck going along, it's always good to hear the voices of your chase team as it's just reassures you. You got someone there in case you need help, you get in trouble, they come along and help you out there. So we're going to wait here so we can make sure we talk to them as they come across the road, and see if we can work out a few more problems that we're dealing with on the road. We're going to go silent. I'll turn the truck audio back up for you so you can hear that as we try to figure out how to work this inverter and stop this beeping that happens. So talk to you shortly. Okay, everybody, we are back live for a moment. Still trying to solve our inverter problems in our chase trucks to keep the computer going. But right now we're charging, so we can keep this live stream going for a little bit longer. Looks like we still got a pretty good view of from Lefty going down going down the race course there. Uh, Looks like they're passing. Is that another race truck? Yeah, it looks like another race truck that's just stopped on the side. Usually, what will happen, just for those who have not been in a race truck, I know a lot of people that listening right now, you have been, and big shout out to all those members of NTD Racing that weren't able to be here with us watching this live right now. We miss you all. Wish y'all were here. Such a fun race. Not quite as fun without all of y'all, but still a good time. So what happens, you see those trucks on the side of the road. Every truck, part of the technical contingency days, you get a racetracks tracker put in there. And there are some safety features built into that tracker. So those trucks you see on the side of the road, when they stop, they will hit a little emergency stop button. It looks a lot like your emergency flashers on your vehicle, a little emergency triangle. They'll hit that. And what that does is it gives the racers that are on the course a warning 1,000 feet before they come up on those vehicles. So right now, Lefty going in, as it passes those vehicles, they got 1,000 feet every 100 feet, it tells them. And sometimes they'll even tell you which direction that vehicle is. But as a driver at that point, navigator, you're slowing down for a couple of reasons. One, safety is a huge priority in this. Racing is the number one priority, but safety is a big deal, and you want to take care and be respectful of other racers out there. You don't want to put anyone in danger. And follow the rules. And then you also want to slow down and make sure that they don't need medical help because you know the racing community is pretty tight. And what you don't want to do is pass by someone that needs medical attention and you're so focused on the race you just left them there. So normally you'll give a wave as you drive by, as you come up on those racers that have initiated those little stop signals out there, those beacons, and you'll give them a wave. And that way, most of them, they'll be standing there, it's flat tire, engine trouble, they'll just wave you right on by. But, you want to be prepared in case it was something more than that. Just a little update. Another thing that tracker does is, let's say you're in a truck and, lefty on the straightaways is pretty fast, but going around the turns, lefty wasn't made for those tight turns and being so technical. So we're a little bit slower there. And, we may have a UTV that wants to pass us. And so they'll be able to initiate a signal because when you're sitting in a race truck, you are strapped in. Safest place to be when you're on a race course is inside that race truck. You're strapped in and you can't see behind you. You have very limited movement, mobility, pretty safe, strapped into that seat. So you don't know if someone's right behind you. They'll hit the button and we get a notice in the race truck, hey, I'm behind you, I want to pass. You will hit a button, acknowledge that you know they're behind you, and then you as a racer, and we saw this earlier, I wasn't talking when it happened, but at that point, you will find a safe place when you can and pull over and allow them to pass you. And the important thing when you do that is if there's one car behind you, there's a good chance there might be a couple. So, oh wow, here we come. I'm going to break off from that discussion and look. Here's what we were talking about when that silt, that sand is just hanging over the race course. As you can see, the visibility right there, man, it's gone. This is where, if you're on a good straight course, you can see they're on a power line road, pretty straight. They can keep the speed up without too much worry, but you'll definitely slow down. And this is where the navigator will be looking at the maps and be like, hey, you're good right now straight, but we got some turns coming up. And if that visibility still isn't there as a driver, um, a driver that's never pre-run the course, and that's what the professional teams are out there. They pre-run these courses. So professional drivers may have driven these courses 10 plus times. Although I don't think they allow much pre-running on the Vegas to Reno course, but anyway, that's where you'll just slow down a little bit and just again back to safety. Uh, we don't say it's the number one priority because racing isn't safe, but we do it as safely as possible. We do it as respectfully as possible, and so in our case, we will slow down and make sure that we're doing this in a way that gets the vehicle to the next drivers. All right, it looks like you see that road crossing up there. That's actually where we are stopped right now. You might be able to see us to the left. I mean, you won't be able to see us. You don't know. We're in the big red truck. If we get up there and you can see it, and you actually can see it there a little bit on your left hand side. So the car's going to go across the course. You got a flag man who's a volunteer. Hats off to all these volunteers, man. They come out here. They're working for no pay. This guy you see up there, he's going to stop the truck. He's going to wait till traffic. Look there. He stopped, make sure the traffic's good. He's across. So I'm looking to my right now, and I'm watching Lefty pass. In a speed zone, it's 25 miles an hour. And here in a second, they'll get out of that speed zone, and then you'll notice a acceleration happening. So there they are. There they go. So this is another cool thing on the race. We're about to regroup. We got to start heading out to pit 2, which is where Dave will hop out. He will take over these broadcasts. I'm going to hop into Dave's seat and start navigating for Chet. And, if anything comes up, we'll come back on and talk to you through it. But for now, we're going to turn the noise from the truck back on. I'm going to mute this, and we'll see you and talk to you here in just a little bit. Take care. All right, it looks like we may be having some trouble with the truck audio again. Uh, as you can see from the video, it's pretty rough out there. So good time for a shout out to Pivot. Uh, you know, most of our mounts are pivot mounts. If you're watching this, you can see how much of the truck is, on these roads taking a beating through these rocks, these ditches, like right there, those bumps and pivot mounts. I mean, as Dave always says, we've broken almost everything on these trucks. We've never broken a pivot mount. So, a good big thanks to Pivot for all their help, support for our racing and the team, and uh, appreciate everything that they do. And if you're out there looking for a nice budget friendly solution for your mounts on the in the racing world, make sure you take a look at Pivot. All right. Well, apologize. We've lost the volume. I think we've lost the volume from Lefty here. So we're going to talk a little bit. I am now in our chase vehicle that we are calling Karen, and I'm in here with Fataki and Caleb. Uh, Caleb, also known as McLovin. All right, Caleb, tell me your favorite part of the racing.
I think my favorite part of the race is when I get in the truck and you guys get to support me. No, it is amazing. It's all the chaos that ensues, and just to get one race truck around. And so when looking back at the Mint and the Baja, when we got multiple trucks and cars going and 20 some people, I mean, it's a lot of logistics, that's for sure. And it seems like there's always something. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point, Caleb. I think maybe one of the things that makes this so fun is that the teamwork that we're forced to do. You know, this is, I think, something that in a lot of people's lives as you get older, you kind of you miss on that having to get together as a team to accomplish a single goal, and then sometimes get out of your comfort zone. Let me say on this team, there are a lot of uh, strong personalities, we'll say to put it mildly. And sometimes we've all had times we get mad at each other, and but that happens on the course. And you know what? At the end of the day, we all let it go, put our egos aside, and celebrate the victories that we've had for that race. Looking at the screen right now, it looks like Lefty is getting into some pretty heavy dust that's not blowing off the course. So as I was talking about earlier, this is one of those times where, as a driver, you got to slow down a little bit, and it's important for the navigator and the driver to be in sync, so they know what the course looks like in front of them, but the driver really paying attention because, again, just taking care of each other and the other drivers and competitors out on the course. You want to make sure that you're doing this as safely as possible. Yeah, Caleb.
Yeah, when that last crossing, when we pull over and watch them go by, it's like there's definitely cars that are faster than us, but there's two cars in front of them at that crossing. That Bronco, I know for sure we were faster than. So this is one of those times where when you're coming up, this is probably the hardest thing here when you're coming up on a racer that you want to pass, but the closer you get, the more dust and silt is in your face. So it's kind of it's not easy to determine when you want to hit your pass button, and if you're even close enough, especially when it's blowing. If there's no wind, that's the worst case scenario, since the dust just kind of stays in the road and it's in your face. But here it looks like it's starting to clear up a little bit, but yeah, so hopefully they'll get close enough here, get to hit the pass button, because I know we're faster than that Bronco. But it's all part of it, like you said, taking care of the truck and yourself and other racers, and just letting people know when you're ready to go by.
Yeah, that's a good point. I talked about the system that's in the truck that you use in order to get past and or to pass someone else. And as Caleb mentioned, that's one of the things. So that right there is a good example. They had hit their pass button, and that Bronco acknowledged it. Once they had a point, they pulled over and just let Lefty pass them. That's kind of the technology that helps in these races. One of the things they had mentioned about this course is they had graded this road, so there's a lot of rocks on the side. So passing, you even got to be more careful because when you pass someone, you're throwing up rocks, and as you can see, there's no windshield in this truck. So we've had this happen. We've even got some pretty good video out there on the NTD Racing site where we've had rocks come right into the vehicle. It's one of those things why you have the protective gear that you have on. You keep your helmet shield down. And then we have hoses going to the helmets so that you're blowing fresh air into the helmets, which keeps you from breathing in all this dust that you're actually seeing on the screen right now. Yeah, so they probably got about, let's say, anywhere from an hour and 15 to 2 hours, depending on what happens to get to pit stop two, where we'll make that navigator change, make sure everything's good with the truck, and staying hydrated and all that good stuff. So I am going to sign off for a minute. We'll let you just keep watching it. We'll see if we can solve the audio problem for Lefty, because I know it kind of creates the whole experience when you can hear that audio in the background from the truck. So we'll see if we can figure that out, and we'll be back here in a little bit. All right, well, we're back. Looks like they're moving pretty fast down the power lines. We're working on how we actually see that here. Again, we're new to this, so we're gonna make it work. Hope you're enjoying this live action, live race action right now. But they're looks like they're moving at a pretty good clip along these power lines. We think the problem with the audio, so just the setup that we have is we got a tablet inside of Lefty that we have remote access to, and I somehow we have lost the, even though I see that they have audio on that tablet, that audio is not transmitting to the software that we use to make this live stream. But hey, we're going to learn as we go, and maybe we'll figure it out at the next pit stop so we can get that sound back up. We also will look at adjusting that camera that right now that's looking at those, the two beams, and you can see part of the helmet of the navigator, part of the helmet of the driver, and we know that's not a maybe not the best look. So we'll see if we can fix that at the next pit stop, and maybe flip it over to the driver so you can see the driver, manipulating the steering as they navigate through this rough terrain there that you're seeing. Um, Power lines are kind of fun because it's not very technical. Usually, you got to watch out for rocks. One flat tire loses 20, 30 minutes easily. So, that's a big thing that we think about a lot. And then you see here the turn going on right there. What would happen right there? The navigator would have given the driver a warning. Hey, we kind of have code talk that we use in there to keep it short and concise, but you got a two right coming up. And if you have more time, you'll give them more information, but that'll mean, hey, you don't want to be going any faster than you would be going in second gear in a right hand turn. It might be a one right if it's a 90-degree turn, meaning just slow down. You got a tight turn up here. And then in this kind of section that you're seeing right here, the navigator is probably telling the driver, drive what you can see. You got these soft little turns going through here and no warnings on the map, which is another thing I haven't talked about. So on the maps that the navigator is looking at, they will have, they will get warnings if there's danger, what they would call dangers on the course. And it will tell them what kind of danger it is. If it's a road crossing, a washout, maybe what they call a G out, where there's a big kind of bump that could test your suspension, and the navigator will be, giving all that information to the driver as they're going along. So that's one of the things on the team we stress a lot is we want everyone to be able to, it's real easy. Everybody will get along and communicate easier with some people than they do the others. But we want every driver navigator to be able to switch out in those seats and be able to, drive the truck or serve as a navigator in those trucks as we're racing. So it's pretty important, and everyone that's on the team, we've been together. We switch out drivers, navigators, and we've all worked with each other. And it's just a good time, just good team building, and one of the reasons we do this. Looks like they're getting into a little more technical section here. Uh, Maybe slider turns. Looks like the rocks might be getting a little bit more pointy, sharp. Yeah, again, the flat tire, we don't want to do that. Sorry, I'm no Dave Pryor, but I'm doing my best. Um, yeah, so right now, what happens while you're watching them drive, the chase teams are just on the highway driving along. And right now, we're early in the race, so it's not that big of a deal. But what happens is we get farther into the race, we have to really start becoming aware of who's getting in the vehicle next, how much rest have they had, have they been hydrating, are they eating? And this is something that's a team effort because during the race in the heat of the moment, it's real easy to quit drinking water, to not eat food. So we have to look out for each other, right? Be like, hey, who's getting in the truck next? So the next driver getting in is going to be Caleb and Ryan. And so, Caleb, when's the last time you had a bottle of water?
Yeah, that's my plan. First thing when we stop here, we got just about 10 more minutes, and I'm gonna pound in the water, grab something to eat, and let it all go. I'm also the pit boss for this next stop, so we're gonna make sure everybody knows their jobs, and we'll be ready to add some gas, switch out navigators, and do as fast as we can. So Dave talks about we want it to be 2 minutes out, 2 minutes in, and on our way. So hopefully we can meet that goal. We'll put gas, for the hopefully just 4 minutes that it takes to get in and out of there, and we're guessing I think it was a gallon every 10 seconds, and so we're trying to fill it up. And Ryan's on fuel. Fataki's is on the fire extinguisher, and I'll be in front as pit boss, and normally put a cone on the hood there. No cone today. We're going to put a gallon of antifreeze on the hood, just to make sure that they know that as long as that's there, there's no moving. So yeah, we'll be in and out of the pit. Hopefully we'll have that obviously on the video, and we'll try to diagnose the audio and in and out, and I'm back on our way.
It's a good point. We haven't talked about the pit. So the pit boss is the only person. They tell the truck where to stop, and they're the only person that removes that cone, in this case, a gallon of antifreeze, off the hood. The driver knows they do not move until the pit boss has taken that cone, whatever safety device we put up there, off the hood and says go. Everyone else will have a job, various jobs. And so one of the things that we've done, and we actually learned this at the Mint 400 watching other teams, and that's the thing about racing. You're always learning, getting better. But we're at the Mint 400, and you have a lot of people just kind of shouting. They want to do their job, and so they're yelling. But so one of the things we've done now is when we're in a pit and you have your job, fire extinguisher, fuel, help drivers get cinched in. What happens is when you're done, when you finish what your job is, what you're supposed to be doing at the pit, you will step back and raise your arms up in the air, and you just keep them up until the pit boss looks around. And when the pit boss is comfortable that everyone, he sees all the hands up in the air and does one final look around, knows there's no one coming up so that you're not going to tell the truck to go and they're going to turn right into another vehicle. That's when the pit boss will pull that cone off and you're back racing again. Again, we try to do it, 2 minutes in, 2 minutes out. So every pit stop would be less than 5 minutes. We fuel the vehicle every pit stop. Not every team does that. One of the reasons we do that is because Lefty is designed to drive with a full tank of gas, so it just rides a little smoother with that extra weight back there. It moves okay, and so every pit we will just fill up the tank. And what happens if you're fueling it, and we've used a lot of gas, is once it's close to ready, then you'll just stop if it hasn't actually filled all the way up. But the tank's big enough and the mileage is good enough where, technically we would only have to do one fuel stop. But in this race, we will fuel every time we pit. So, all right, we're going to sign off for a minute. We'll see if we can diagnose this volume from the race truck a little bit to, again, get that full experience from the visual and the audio. And get back on this. We are pulling over, so I'm going to sign off so we can figure out what's going on. All right, we're back. Just an update. So the chase teams we're moving into pit two, and at pit two, the plan is to. The plan is to just do a navigator switch, a quick check of the truck. So we're going to go down here to pit 2 and we'll get set up. We'll watch the progress of the race truck. When we know the race truck is, about 30 minutes out, that's when the navigator, the top and end, which will be me, will suit up because it's pretty warm out here. So you want to try to 98 degrees and getting warmer. So that's what, you don't want to overheat. So I'll concentrate on hydrating, get a little food, and then just start preparing to hop in the truck when it gets up there. So we will update y'all from the pit as we continue to move forward. It's a little ways down this pit road, so nice and easy for the chase trucks and our minivan chase truck. A lot of fun, but seems to be pretty capable so far. As well, we got the Baja Edition rental, right? Is that what you said? Yeah. Yeah. So I want to report this to the rental car company. All right. We'll be back. Thanks for watching. All right, if you're watching the live stream, you may have just seen the lefty kind of go off course and turn off and turn back. What happens sometimes, and I'm not sure what happened here because we don't have the audio from lefty, but every now and then you may have some latency issues with navigation, uh, or just, the tracks don't line up with the actual course. It could be any number of things, but you make a course correction. So it appears to be that's what happened here. Maybe they just got off course a slight bit, made a course correction, and now back on course. So that looks like what happened right there. And it looks like they're in some pretty silty, sandy area too, moving through here. So that's, if you notice that happen, that's all it was. Slight course correction, most likely. And now they're tracking along.
There's a lot more silt out there. There's a ton, way more silt out there than I thought there would be. Like just watching the video and watching, dust and dirt come over, one side or the other of the hood, and you can see some ruts in there, which I wasn't really expecting. But I guess it's dry and
Yeah,
hot.
wow, Caleb, as you're saying that, look at that dust devil that's on the screen there. It's That's pretty impressive. So you can imagine dust devils are usually impressive anyway, but when you got that much sand just hanging out in the air already, that was pretty impressive. And I almost think they turned the race truck just so they could show us that shot. So, all right, we're going to sign off for a minute. We'll be back. All right, as we watch Lefty making her way through some dusty, what looks to be pretty technical area. Just quick update. So we're stopped here at the pits, waiting for the pits to clear out a little bit to get our setup, and then I will start getting ready to hop in the truck. And there we go. I was going to tell y'all that one of the issues we're running into is that the surface battery's getting low, and that surface has a magnetic power connection, and the warning just came up on the screen so we can all see it. And I'm going to leave it there because I'm hoping that maybe Dave will see that and check the connection of the surface. So we're not going to mess with it. We're going to leave that there uh, on purpose. I could go acknowledge it, but I don't want to do that because I want the navigator to see it. And it could be that Dave, oh, there he goes. Now I am going to remotely look at their surface and tell y'all if he actually plugged it back in, and he did. We are, it's in energy saver mode. I can't tell if it's charging or not, but it looks like he acknowledged it. So hopefully he's aware that there's a power issue on that surface. And if not, when we stop at pit 2 for a quick navigator change, then we'll address that issue. But we're racing. Looks like Lefty's doing pretty good. Moving along. Haven't seen anything pretty technical. You see that G out right there. Looks like some pretty steep hills. These lefties got to kind of go slow through, take it nice and easy. Um, I'm not sure what those cars are right there, but that might be actually part of the best in the desert recovery effort. So, anyway, all right, I'm going to sign off for a minute. I may come back. If not, the next time you'll see me may be on a camera through that GoPro as I'm sitting in the navigator seat riding with Chet up until pit 4. So maybe I'll talk to you again. If not, I'll see you at pit 4. Cheers. All right, so quick update. Looks like the Surface Pro inside of Lefty has finally lost all its power. Uh, Probably Lefty will be stopping at pit 2, let's say within the next half hour, if not a little quicker. At that point, we'll try to diagnose the problem, get it back online, and start live streaming again. So we're going to keep this going for now. We may have to restart the live stream, starting to get outside of my uh, expertise. So anyway, sorry about the disruption of the race, but we'll get it back online hopefully within the next 30 minutes or so. All right, stay tuned. Okay, so just to update everybody, as you look at our NTD screen, we're trying to get the truck back online before they get to the pit. Down the truck volume just in case, since I can't hear what's happening on the actual live stream right now. Um, we're going to leave it right here for now. So it looks like we got some video going back. Um, we will work on getting these technical issues fixed and solved. They're less than 5 miles from the pit, which means I need to get my race suit on, shoes on, helmet ready, all my thing, my water. Definitely in this heat and desert, got to have the hydration going. So I'm going to take care of all that. The Dave will be getting out, and hopefully we'll solve these issues and get it back online as smooth as it was going earlier.